What's happening, y'all? It's your boy Danny Brasco here from Pick Profit, ready to drop some Super Bowl 55 picks and predictions on you guys. Brady, Mahomes, couldn't have scripted it any better. We're rocking with all sorts of action across the board in every category. If you can bet on it, I want action. So rock with us here. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel, smash that like button, and rock with us on the daily. Always dropping more sports betting content, intel, knowledge, and want to help you guys beat Vegas. So let's get into the big game already. There's some fun stuff you can bet on. I guess I'll kick it off with the fun stuff. I'm going to go through novelty props, game props, player props, and of course, pick a side on the spread, cover the game total and everything that's important in this one. But we'll start off with the fun stuff. I'm taking a look, of course, you can't begin the game without the national anthem. And every year it's my favorite bet. I bet on the over-under of the national anthem. We saw that this guy, if you guys saw the video that just got released, somebody was outside the stadium and he timed the rehearsal that he heard from outside on the duet that's being sung for the national anthem. It's going to be an R&B singer and a country singer doing some sort of Old Town Road national anthem mashup, and it went way over the total. The line is sitting at 119 and a half seconds right now, so you're betting, will it go over or under 2 minutes? And it went like 2:20. So I'm going with the over. The under has hit in 11 of the last 13 national anthems. This is one of my favorite things to bet on. I bet on the over last year. It was Demi Lovato. I looked up all sorts of stats of hers, and she sped through that thing. I was screaming at her, hold the note, home of the... She ran through it. So this year it's a duet. It's two different people trying to get their shine. That thing's going over on the national anthem. Gotta love that bet. I can't do the coin toss, heads or tails. I might as well just play roulette, black, red. It's ridiculous, but as they say, tails never fails. Tails has hit a lot recently, so maybe rock heads if you're just looking at the math of it. Here's one that's ridiculous. Will Joe Biden be mentioned? Plus 225 that they'll say the president. That during the telecast, they'll just mention the president. He's giving a pre-Super Bowl address. Presidential tradition to do that. All the telecasters have to do, Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. So, oh, did you hear the pre-Super Bowl address, Tony? Done. Cash it. Plus 225. What if he's at the game? I'll take my chances on that. Plus 225 for Joe Biden to be mentioned. You can bet on all sorts of fun stuff, but something that everyone always looks at is what color Gatorade will be poured on the winning coach's head. And the favorite right now is orange. Chiefs poured orange over Andy Reid last year. Andy Reid loves having his guys drink orange. He's even said as much in interviews before. It's like a Chiefs thing to drink orange Gatorade. So that's the favorite because the Chiefs are favored to win. But here's something I like. At plus 375, lemon lime is interesting. Gatorade invented in Florida. Gatorade, Florida Gators, original color, yellow, lemon lime. Maybe a little history Gatorade promo going on. Welcome back to the homeland of Gatorade, Super Bowl lemon. Plus 375, worth a sprinkle. So I'm looking at orange as the favorite, most likely. Worth sprinkling for a long shot on yellow, lemon lime. Gotta love it. It's too much fun. You can bet on stuff like, will The Weeknd fall off the stage during his halftime performance? Plus 1,400. That's ridiculous. That's also bad karma. I'm not gonna bet on someone to fall off the stage. But, who knows? Anything could happen. Will there be a wardrobe malfunction? Plus 550. I think I have to put like a couple bucks on that. Are you kidding me? You could dispute that with your book, right? A wardrobe malfunction? What qualifies as that? He missed a belt loop. His shirt is undone. His hat fell off. There's so many things that could be a wardrobe malfunction, not necessarily just a Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake nipple reveal. So, I'm going to bet on that. What if a fan runs on the stage and pantses him? I'm all over it. Plus 550 wardrobe malfunction. Okay, I've gotten through the funny, hilarious, novelty props. Let's get into some game props, and then I'll get into player props and the more important stuff. First of all, I'm looking at the sack total, over under on total sacks to be had in the game. I like over 3.5 sacks. You don't really think of these teams and think about defense. It's their all-star fantasy squad offenses they have. But defensively, what are the strengths? For both teams, it's their defensive line. For the Chiefs, you got, Chris Jones, who's an absolute beast. You got Frank Clark, who's a good edge rusher there. They could get to Brady. He's obviously not a mobile guy, and he's also not an idiot, right? He just threw 3 picks against Green Bay. I think he's more likely to not throw the interception in this one. Instead, hold on to the ball, take the sack, live to see another day. I could see the Chiefs getting to him a couple times. And then as for the Buccaneers, they have the #1 run defense in the league, and that's behind an incredible defensive line who can also get to the QB. You got Shaq Barrett and JPP on the edge, coming at you from the defensive end spot. And then the tackles can get pressure up the middle with Ndamukong Suh and Vita Vea. I mean, that defensive line is a beast. So will they get to Mahomes? I think they can get to him 1 or 2 times. Each team gets 2 sacks. Boom, you cover. So it's kind of, favored right now. It's sitting at a minus 170, but I like it. Over 3.5 sacks, I think is a good play in this one. Here's another great one. And I got fed some great data by my team that I just have to play this now. Now, it's fairly heavily favored. It's sitting at a minus 190, but I think it's a lock. And I refrain from saying that often in sports betting because nothing is ever a lock. Anything can happen in the wild world of sports, but this one's pretty good. The last team to score will win the game. Last team to score wins the game. 17-2 in the last 19 Super Bowls, 11-0 in the last 11. And think about how that game script plays out, right? Either they're tied up or one team's down by a score, maybe a field goal, and the opposing quarterback marches their team down for a game-winning drive, right? And that's how you win. Last team to score wins the game. Or one team is up by a score, maybe 10 or something like that, and they score again, and it's the dagger. And the comeback for the other team is unachievable. Last team to score wins the game. So both of those scenarios, I can see both those game scripts playing out like that. Last team to score wins the game. 17-2 in 19 of the last Super Bowls. Are you kidding me? I got to bet on that. So that's a fun game prop as well. Okay, I've gone through novelty props. I've gone through game props. Let's get into the player props, right? Who's going to shine in this one? Well, let's take a look first at some Chiefs players, and their offense is absolutely outrageous. Who do you stop? Who do you contain? First one I'm looking at is Patty Mahomes, right? What do I like for him? I'm looking at his longest completion. Right now, I see the total on my book at over 41.5 yards. And I like the over in that one. Think about all the ways that can happen. Of course, you got the cheetah, Tyreek Hill, who can beat you over the top, fastest man on the planet perhaps, and you can just hit a bomb to him, and there you go, cash your bet. So that's the easiest scenario to think of. Last time when he played the Buccaneers, he torched these guys. He had 200 receiving yards in the first quarter, unheard of. So, the Bucs are going to have to do something crazy to game plan for him. Good luck to them. Hopefully they learned something from their lesson, but they got burnt, they got torched, and maybe he can do it again. Also, it doesn't just have to be a bomb over the top, right? It can be a quick slant to him. It can be a bubble screen to someone like Mecole Hardman even, or Tyreek Hill, and they could break out and make a couple guys miss on their own, break a tackle, and boom, you cash it that way as well. Run for, 50 yards after the catch. Or it could be Travis Kelce. You hit him over the middle, maybe there's some soft zone coverage, he breaks a tackle, he runs one off for another 40 yards, boom, cash it. So all these scenarios can create this player prop, and I'm going to ride with Patrick Mahomes' longest completion to go over 41.5 yards. I think that's a good bet too. Another one I'm looking at for the Chiefs is Travis Kelce over in receptions. I mean, that's just been straight cash, free money lately. We had that pick at Pick Profit here in their last game in the AFC Championship. It was over under 7.5 receptions. That was the easiest bet I've ever made in my life. He had it in the second quarter. He had 8 receptions. Are you kidding me? Travis Kelce is probably going to be open all day. I mean, think about doubling Tyreek Hill. Think about trying to take that aspect away to not get burnt by the big play. Who's going to be open? It's their big, reliable guy over the middle in soft zone coverage. It's Travis Kelce, 7 yards, 5 yards, 12 yards, 7 yards, 8 yards. It's too easy. I mean, it's too easy for him. He's a great route runner. There's no matchup that makes sense against him. So Kelce, over 8 receptions, I got to have me some of that. I'm going Travis Kelce, over 8 receptions. Taking a look at one more Chiefs prop that I like, and I'm actually going to play an under. An under on a Chiefs player? You crazy, man. I know, but check it out. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been very, very absent in the last couple playoff games. He was dealing with an injury towards the end of the season. He had to miss some time, and now that he's come back, he's the second guy. He's not really getting the burn anymore. It's Darrell Williams that's been the lead horse for them out of the backfield when the Chiefs do decide to run the ball. Obviously, it's a super pass-happy offense behind Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid. They're not looking to pound the rock necessarily. They did early on in the season, which was interesting. Edwards-Helaire was getting 20, 25 carries. He was that bell cow they would just keep going to, but not the case anymore. Obviously, still coming off that injury. He doesn't look to be 100,000%. So they've only given it to him 6 times in the last couple games, 6 carries for 7 yards, each of those in the last 2 games. I'm not seeing much coming from him. He's not necessarily a great pass-catching threat out of the backfield. So if you combo his rushing and receiving yards prop, and you look at the total yards between those two, it's sitting at 53.5 yards. I got to play the under there. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, don't think he's going to be a big factor in this game. If a running back is going to be a factor for the Chiefs, it's going to be Darrell Williams, and they're going to rely on him as they have been for the last couple games in the playoffs, and he's been playing pretty well. So I'll go Clyde Edwards-Helaire under 53.5 yards. All right, taking a look at the Buccaneers now. Now that they're a fantasy team on offense. Here's one I got to play, and it's the old Super Bowl connection. Rob Gronkowski, longest reception over 15.5 yards. Longest reception over 15.5 yards. I got to play the over on that one. I mean, think about Brady and Gronk, how many Super Bowls they played in together. They're listening to Bad Boy for Life, those videos of them coming off the plane, shoulder to shoulder. These guys are brothers in arms. They played in so many Super Bowls together, and I got to think if it comes down to a clutch moment, which of course every moment will be clutch in the Super Bowl, and the Brady really needs to find a target. He's going to look for a familiar face. He needs a big first down or a chunk play. I could see Gronk catching one over the middle for 20 yards, right? Over the top near the sideline, a nice, basket catch. I can see it happening in so many different ways. He breaks a tackle, runs for one. Gronk's going to have to, show up in this game, and I'm expecting a couple, turn back the hands of time. Gronk, Grady, connections once again, and how many times has it happened in the Super Bowl? Why wouldn't it happen again? So I got to play the over. Rob Gronkowski to have a reception that goes over 15.5 yards. Got to play the over on that. And then another one I'm looking at is Leonard Fournette. Is rushing attempts. He's had 17, 13, 12 rushing attempts in all three in those three playoff games that the Buccaneers have played so far, and he's been their bell cow now. It was Ronald Jones early in the season. He was looking really good for them, and later in the year he started dealing with a quad injury. He's back now, and he's been sharing the carries with Leonard Fournette, but they've really relied on Fournette more. They split drives, it looks like. Fournette goes on one series, Ronald Jones goes on the next series, and they'll switch that back and forth. But when Fournette is in, it looks like they're giving him the ball more often. He's the veteran guy. He seems super reliable now. He had an awesome touchdown in the last game, broke a tackle, made a guy miss, and dived at the pylon for a sick touchdown. So I think they'll look to rely on him more than Ronald Jones, who has had fumbling issues that you don't want to give the ball away in the Super Bowl. And I think to that point, Leonard Fournette will be the guy that gets the more touches. So I'm looking at him over 11.5 rushing attempts. He's had that in every playoff game so far. The Bucs are going to have to run the ball if they want to play their style, right? They can't just shoot it out with Mahomes, no matter how many offensive weapons you have at receiver. You got to run the ball if you're Brady and the Bucs. You got to manage the game. You got to stay on the field, eat up some clock. So I like Fournette to go over 11.5 rushing attempts. Now, I've given you guys all sorts of player props. I gave you guys game props, novelty props, so much fun here. But let's get into the main event. Let's get after the game prediction and the total. I'll take a look at the total first. This is going to be a scary play. Total opened up at 57, now sitting at over or under 56 points. And, that line moved from 57 to 56 because 72% of the public bets came in on the over. And that makes sense. You think about these guys. Brady, Mahomes, AB, Gronk, Mike Evans, Godwin, Scotty Miller. How many people can we name on the Bucs offense? It's ridiculous. Chiefs, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Mecole Hardman, Demarcus Robinson, Edwards-Helaire, Le'Veon Bell, Darrell Williams, Patrick freaking Mahomes. I mean, it's an easy thought to have it go over, right? And I wouldn't blame you for taking it. Sometimes you don't have to think any harder than that. You don't have to outsmart yourself. But in this one, I'm going to look to outsmart myself and see how I fare. Based on the action that I'm seeing, so far, out of a pretty good sample size, and bets are still going to come in before the big day, but it looks like 52% of the money is actually on the under. So I mentioned 72% of the bets are on the over, yet the most of the money so far, a slight majority of the money, is towards the under. Big money players playing the under. Perhaps some sharp action comes in on it too. I'm going to keep watching this line as it comes closer to game time. But based on those betting trends, you always want to look at stuff like that. Line movement, betting action, public, sharp action, big money when you're a sports gambler, because that informs a lot of the way that Vegas is trying to play you with the line movement, where the big dogs are going. And that can be, sort of a smoke signal in which direction to lean sometimes. And to those points, I have to play the under. I think it's too easy of a logic for the public to think, oh, Brady Mahomes, over. So if it goes back up to 56 and a half, 57, if more money comes in on the over, which I'm expecting it to, fans that haven't bet or looking to bet on the day of the game, I think it'll go back over. And I'm going to fade him. I'm going to be the contrarian, as scary as it might be to bet on an under in this game. I'm going to do it. I'm going to bet the under 56 right now. I'm going to wait to see if it goes back up to 56 and a half, 57, and take the under. So that's my play, under in a Super Bowl with two of the best offenses we've ever freaking seen. Yikes. That's going to be a scary prospect for me, but I'm expecting some defense in this one. I don't think it's going to 70, 80 points, although it very well could be 35 to 31 type of game. I'll be here eating my words, but I'm here to give a prediction nonetheless, and that's my take. Make of it what you will. So looking at some more plays that we can have, what's left? We got Super Bowl MVP, and we got the game. First, I'll throw you a Super Bowl MVP. Here's some fun ones. Obviously, Brady, Mahomes. It's the square pick. And I could never blame you for taking either of those guys because more than likely it will, of course, be a quarterback. And these guys are the faces of the NFL. Literally, the two biggest faces of the NFL. The GOAT, the greatest quarterback of all time in Tom Brady. And then Baby GOAT, the next greatest quarterback of all time. The guy looking to take his place when it's all said and done on the mantle who has a real shot here, especially if he beats him in this game. What a legacy, stamp you can put on Mahomes. He beat Brady. That's what everyone looks to do. So Mahomes, minus 130 right now as I see it, different on every book, is the huge favorite to win the Super Bowl MVP. Could never blame me for taking that, but I want juicier action. Brady, plus 175 I see. Pretty interesting. If he win, how do you not give it to either of those guys, whichever of their team wins, right? It's probably going to be on the back of their play. But if it's not, well, what other scenario could it be? Defensive? Massive defensive play? What if the Bucs take this? Who won the Super Bowl MVP the last time the Buccaneers were in this thing? John Gruden and Dexter Jackson, his cornerback on the Buccaneers. Back in the day, I think it was 2003 when they last won the Super Bowl MVP. He had 2 picks before halftime, sealed the deal early on against Rich Gannon and the Raiders. And what if the Bucs turn back time again and do it? So who on defense could do it? You could look at JPP at a massive plus 9,000. I like Devin White. Their all-star linebacker can get it done in so many ways, can cover, can blitz and get sacks. He can force fumbles. He can get tackles. What if he has, 2 picks? What if he has a pick 6, a forced fumble, a sack, 12 tackles, all sort, pass deflected. What if his stat line is crazy? Devin White at plus 4,500. I'm going to sprinkle a tiny bit on that as a long shot, and just had to throw that in there, of course. You can bet on someone like Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce, plus 800, plus 900 for those guys. It's just hard to see if they're catching the ball from Mahomes, how you don't give it to Mahomes, unless they have just an insane day, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. They make the plays on their own, right? Catch a slant, and run up the field on their own, not necessarily like a dime from Mahomes, but it's still hard to see how that plays out. So, for me, for my bang for my buck, if I want to sprinkle something on a long shot, I'm going Devin White plus 4,500. All right, we covered everything. MVP, over, under, player props, game props, novelty props. It's time to make a play on the game. It's time to pick a winner in the Super Bowl. Right now, spread sitting at a plus 3.5 for the Bucs, minus 3.5 for the Chiefs. May vary depending on the book. That half point is massive. So whatever book you're on, pay attention because that half point means a lot. The difference between a field goal and just outside of it, right? The hook, as we call it in sports betting. Here's a sentence I just can't get out of my head, guys. No matter how much I try. As crazy as it is to go against Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs offense, and the defense has been playing better in the playoffs too. Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, is a home underdog in the Super Bowl. This is the first time that a team will have home field advantage ever in the Super Bowl. The Bucs are in their own stadium. Can you believe that? How do you script this? And it's Tom Brady in his first year away from the Patriots, looking to prove something for his legacy too, right? It wasn't just Belichick. It wasn't the Patriots system. It was me. I made them great. And he's looking to prove that here. So his legacy is far from over, right? He has so much more to prove in this game. Mahomes looking to challenge him for his legacy, be the next greatest quarterback, take his spot eventually. These guys are going to go to war against each other. I'm a Giants fan. I don't like Tom Brady. And I say that disclaimer to tell you this right now. I don't know how you bet against him. and that half point is screaming at me. Plus 3.5, plus 3 and the hook. The Bucks could lose by a field goal, a late one, right? A late drive from Patrick Mahomes. Harrison Butker kicks a 50-yard field goal for the win, and you still cover with the half-point hook. So for me and my money, it's scary to do it, but I can't bet against the GOAT. You can't account for greatness. And you could say that for Mahomes too. I mean, man, he's playing so clutch. This is one of the hardest Super Bowls I've ever had to pick. But I'm going Brady plus 3.5. Bucks at home in this one. Gotta do it. And that's going to be my Super Bowl pick. Thank you so much, guys, for locking in with us here at Pick Profit. Good luck on your Super Bowl bets. Let's go get this money. Booyakasha.